So I think 2025 was the year of amber fragrances. Don't you guys think? I've got 13 fairly new amber fragrances, and 10, 11 of them are from this year. And I'm highlighting amber today because it's an awesome winter fragrance style. It's not necessarily a note, it's an accord, and the amber is created with various notes and ingredients to create the style. But I really love wearing ambers. They can be sweet, they can be powdery, they can be spicy, they can be aromatic, but super concentrated, super intense, warm, resinous, balsamic ingredients together for a really intoxicating smell. Do you enjoy wearing ambers in the wintertime? You know, I really love amber fragrances. In fact, amber as a style is definitely like a top 5 style for me to wear. And I've got some great ones here. I've got 13 fairly new ones, and I've got 13 classic ones that you're most likely familiar with. Maybe not, but if you're first discovering amber, if you're discovering amber for the first time, I'm going to explain to you a little bit about it. So for me, amber is not necessarily one single note. Taking notes like labdanum, benzoin, myrrh, balsamic notes like tolu, Peru balsam, including vanilla and labdanum, if I didn't mention it already, combining these notes together to create this style, the amber style. So again, one of my favorite styles. I've been obsessed with it for the longest time, and I just love these fragrances. You can say Shalimar is kind of amber-esque. It's vanilla amber, but I don't have that featured here today. We're talking about more intense amber style fragrances. And it was a great year for amber fragrances. There were a lot of launches. Like for this one, this is Costume National's Fiery Amber, which explains to you exactly what the amber is. It can be fiery, it can be smoky, for sure warm, very warm and spicy. And I think Costume National did a great job here. This is created by Jean-Christophe Hérault, who's a perfumer at IFF. So super spicy, very warm, balsamic resinous for sure. And there's vanillic touches here, but it's super intense and it's definitely fiery. But behind all of that, I feel like I get earthy notes. I can smell patchouli here. I can smell woodsy notes or woods and, molecular notes to create or intensify the amber accord that's in here. That's so good. Really great. Wish the brand was a bit more easier to find here in the States, but I feel like in Europe you might have an easier time finding this. But Jean-Christophe Hérault and the brand Costume National did a great job on this one. It's really, really solid offering for an amber in that traditional amber style, which I really, really love. Another great amber that launched this year is Sultan Pasha Perfume's Quintessentially Amber. If you didn't catch my video on this, I did a full review and a reveal video when Sultan showed me these for the first time, and I was totally blown away by this fragrance. First of all, it's super concentrated, also giving me vintage vibes. And I already mentioned Guerlain here. This gives me Samsara vibes. The very first time I smelled Samsara from Guerlain, way back in like 1992, was when I first was looking for a perfume to gift to my mom. And at the counter, the associates showed me Samsara in that really gorgeous, beautiful red bottle. So that bottle doesn't exist anymore. It's been, also redone and reformulated. But this fragrance to me is giving me that experience, that smell in this new form. There's a lot of sandalwood here. And also there's this kind of a soft, creamy texture about it, but it's not like a soft fragrance. It's super intense. But sandalwood is very, very prominent. There's a lot of spices in this as well. Woods and earthy notes, but it's also got a lot of ambery, resinous notes as well. I think it's an amber that has a lot more going on with it, especially the woods and spices. And I think there's a bit of aldehydic notes as well to give it some light, airy lift to the fragrance. But every time I put my nose to this, it instantly takes me to that time. I was what, like 22 years old, 21 years old, buying a gift for my mom. I always gifted her perfume because She loved perfume. She loves perfume still. So, but this just totally takes me to that day that I was searching for a perfume to give to my mom. And I ended up giving her samsara because this reminds me of samsara for some strange reason. Let me know if that happened to you. Let me know what your thoughts are on quintessentially amber. It's a really, really solid amber. Again, I think 2025 is the year of amber fragrances. This next one is also really, really solid. And this one actually utilizes ambergris with ambery notes and resinous notes. So there's the ambers that are created with ambergris, and ambergris is the regurgitation of the whale. So actually, it's not vomit, I should say. It comes out the other end, and it's washed up on the shore. And some strange reason, perfumers, realize that it's great to add to perfumes, and it's been used quite a lot. But it's also very, very expensive because you can't just hunt for it. It has to, it has to be pooped out and washed on the shore and then used in very minute amounts. I like the usage of it, but in minute amounts, not super strong, because it can get really, really fecal, dirty. This to me, see, because it comes from the ocean, it's the whale, it's got salty touches. So Tales of Amber is a solid amber fragrance. First of all, it's quite powdery. There is a citrusy edge about it. There's a lot of warm spices here as well. But it's that minerally salty touch that the ambergris provides, along with, other ambery notes or resinous notes. This also has a bit of oud, but it's done in such a perfect way, such an awesome way. It's just wears really super sexy. And this is also not as sweet as the fiery amber, because it has that ambergris in it. It kind of comes off minerally salty, and really nicely done amber. It's quite warm, but not super fiery, hot, warm like the fiery amber, and also not vintage like the quintessentially amber, but really solid offering from Goldfield and Banks. This is definitely one of their best in a long time. I highly recommend this one. One of my favorite fragrances of the year, Tales of Amber from the House of Goldfield and Banks. Let me know if you're familiar with that one. All right, if you are a lover of amber fragrances, then you must know about the niche perfume house of Maître Parfumeur Gantier, because these guys are constantly releasing new amber fragrances. In fact, I would say 9 out of 10 times most people know that brand or that house for a fragrance called Ombre Presso. But now we've got a new amber fragrance from them, another one. This is Ombre Cappuccine. So are you guys familiar with this brand? I do have Ombre Presso here as part of the well-known established amber fragrances. Everybody knows that one. A lot of folks know it. In fact, I've spoken about it quite a bit. I've featured it in the Scent Club kit. But I want to talk to you guys about this new one. This is more of a balsamic take on amber. And it could also be a sister or related to their other amber fragrance called Ombre Mythique, which I have a full review of on the channel. But this is quite powdery. This has got a lot of heliotrope, which is a note that provides a slight almondy touch to fragrances and makes them very, very powdery. But there's a lot of spices here and aromatics as well to contrast. But this is both resinous and very balsamic, and woods and musk are thrown in as well, along with vanillic touches. But again, this is a super powdery offering because I feel like there's an overdose of heliotrope. And whenever you find heliotrope in fragrances, it does provide that powdery effect, and also it's got that kind of almondy touch. It doesn't smell like actual almonds, but it kind of is bordering the smell of almonds and powder together. Very interesting. So that's Ombre Cappuccine, the latest amber fragrance from Maître Parfumeur Gantier. Have you guys sampled it yet? So to me, as I was saying, this is kind of sort of like I think taking Ombre Mythique and Ombre Presso and marrying it together to create a new amber fragrance. So all of the fragrances that I've spoken about so far have launched in 2025. This one launched late last year. I wanted to highlight it here because by the time it got around, people We're discovering it in 2025. This is from the house of Les Eaux Primordiales. This is Ombre Supermassive. So this comes a year after Vanille Supermassive. And Ombre Supermassive is basically a extrait de parfum version of their, mainstay amber fragrance, Ombre Super Fluide. Whereas I didn't really care for Ombre Super Fluide that much. I don't know why it didn't click with me, but Ombre Supermassive is super sexy. It's a boozy take on amber. It's also got fruity notes. It's got spices, of course, resinous ambery touches. So if you like the idea of an amber with booze, fruits, and spices together, but still having that, warm, resinous quality that ambers are associated with, this is definitely one for you to try. It's also got a very, very sexy touch about it. I think the DNA of this brand and the dry down is super sexy. So you've got all of that going for it for one super delicious offering. Now, as I said, I wasn't really a big fan of the super fluid version of the amber, but the Supermassive is so, so good. Super delicious, I should say. They're going to have to create a new fragrance called Ombre Super Delicious. What do you guys think? Let me know if you've tried Ombre Supermassive. We actually featured this one in a mystery box. I think not this last time. I think the time before. But I really love it. It's super sexy, I think. Let me know your thoughts. So we've got a fragrance that is actually very limited run of. And I had to include it here because in the end, it's an amber. But it's also an updated version of a classic amber. This is Infiniment Coty's Ombre Antique. So Ombre Antique had launched in 1910, I believe. And this is 115 years later. The brand decided to do 1,910 bottles of these. And I'm not going to spray too much. So it's a limited edition. And I'm a big lover of classic fragrances. So I had to have a bottle. This does have some somewhat Shalimar-esque qualities. It also has a little bit of Le Lion-like qualities. But in the end, it's got a very vintage vibe. So I think it might not appeal to some folks that don't necessarily enjoy vintage fragrances. But that's kind of what I like about this one. And the fact that the brand has brought this fragrance back, I'm happy, which means, are they going to bring Coty's Chypre back? Are they going to bring Emerald back? Who knows? I hope they do. But this is a great start for this brand to feature and launch a version like this. I just hope that since this is a limited edition in this more gorgeous looking bottle, I hope that they launch it as a limited edition, but they add it to their lineup. We shall see. I think they might do that. I don't know any rumors or anything. I'm just guessing. But the fact that other brands have done things like that, I have a feeling they might do that as well. Although this is also so vintage that I might not be a big seller for the brand, but I absolutely love it. If you like ambers that are kind of classic smelling, something that might have launched many, many years ago, it's got animalic funk added to it. Kind of reminds me a little bit of I don't know if you guys know Salome from Papillon Perfumery. Just imagine that a bit more ambery, less animalic, but still keeping the animalic touches. It gives me those kind of vibes. So good. The other fragrance I should mention that this reminds me of is Jean Desprez's Bal à Versailles a little bit. But, it reminds me of Shalimar. It reminds me of Le Lion and things like that. But I don't know if you guys had a chance to check this one out. This is Ombre Antique from the house of Infiniment Coty, and this is part of their upper end collection of fragrances. And again, I'm only hoping that they're going to bring back Coty's Chypre, and I'm hoping they're going to bring back Emerald and some of their other, discontinued fragrances. All right, this next one I featured in the haul video I spoke about yesterday. This is Swiss Arabian's Shagaf Amber Infusion. Now, I like this one. It's not so exciting. I did a blind buy of a tester, and I enjoy it, but I think I enjoy the tonka that was featured in the video and then the vanilla toffee more. But this is, like number 3, number 4. So it's basically very resinous and spicy. It's got resins and smoky notes and maybe slight bit leathery notes. So it's not as bright of an amber as I kind of wish for. I kind of like the color of this amber as the versus the color of this amber. This one's darker. It's brown, obviously. So when you take red and add black to it, it becomes kind of brownish. So I feel like you actually experience the fragrance kind of darker, smokier, more resinous, leathery, because you get those notes here. I was also mentioning I get tobacco, and I'm not seeing tobacco listed as a note, but I feel like it's there in the background, or maybe the leather is acting that way. It's not so bright to me, but in the end, somebody might want something darker, leatherier, smokier in comparison to something brighter. Whereas the fiery amber from Costume National is brighter, but also has a very fiery, hot quality about it. But hot necessarily doesn't mean it's dark and smoky. It's just very fiery. But Chagaf's Swiss Arabian Chagaf Amber Infusion, again, is a very dark, smoky, leathery, resinous take on amber. There is a little bit of fruitiness in there as well that's coming through. And again, the tobacco touches it gives me. And it kind of gives me a little bit of like a shisha tobacco-like vibe. And even though they don't mention the tobacco, I get that from that fragrance. But let's move on to the House of Ella K. This is Amber K. See, there's been a lot of amber fragrances that have launched here this year. I think 2 of them were from late last year, but the rest of them are from 2025. But I'm featuring all of these here together in case you're in the market for some amber fragrances. And who's a fan of Ella K fragrances? I think Sonia Constant did a really great job with this Amber K. It's a really delicious smelling amber that is like taking amber, sprinkling it with cocoa, because there's like a cocoa-ish touch here. But there's tonka here. There's a resinous, spicy touches. It's quite powdery. There's orris and things like that. But it's a super delicious, almost gourmand-leaning amber. And it does have the DNA of Ella K fragrances. So if you're familiar with Ella K fragrances, you're going to probably be familiar with the DNA. And if you like that DNA, you're going to like this one, because I really love that idea of the cocoa. It's almost like a dash sprinkling of cocoa on top of like resinous, ambery, spicy, smoky notes. Super delicious, gourmand-leaning, but not super heavy either. Just the right amount of delicious here. Who's a fan of Ella K? This is Amber K from the House of Ella K, created by Sonia Constant. We're moving on to the House of Dior. This is Bois d'Argent in the Esprit de Parfum collection of fragrances. Yeah, it's very expensive. Yeah, people are pissed off at Francis Kurkdjian. Yeah, there's a lot of negative going around this brand, but this is good. I know some people are into the original airiness of the original, like the airy transparency of the original. I really like the thickness and the denseness of the resinous, honeyed, smoky touches in this. I absolutely really love it. It's still delicious. I've been wearing it here and there, and I'm an oversprayer, and as you can see, I've used quite a bit already. It smells delicious on me, and I like that honey. It's got a very thick quality. I received a comment recently that said, oh, it's too thick. The honey just is too much. I could see that, but wear it in the cold. Oh my God, it smells great in the cold. And for 2-3 weeks here in Northern California, we had really cold weather. So this thing shined a lot. It's so good, so delicious. Just imagine the original Bois d'Argent, which features myrrh, honey, iris orris type notes, just intensified, amplified, made deeper, made more beefy. That's what you get with the Esprit de Parfum version of Bois d'Argent. Let me know if you're familiar with it. Add a comment below. So this is also one that I featured yesterday in the video, and I bought it just for this specific video. But this is Guerlain's Ambre Samar. And even though I was not so excited in that video, I've grown to enjoy this one. But still, I think it reminds me of some stuff I've smelled before. Now it's becoming very mass, and you can get a fragrance like this that I've smelled from other brands in the House of Guerlain. But I think they did a great job. They're releasing it for the masses, even though it has a very Middle Eastern styling to it. It's amber for sure, but it's also warm and spicy. There's a lot of cinnamony touches here, like warm spices, which gives you like a enveloping warmth when you're wearing the fragrance. But just under there's something familiar about this one. I don't know where it is. If anybody has an idea of what this reminds them of, If they're familiar with it, let me know, add a comment below, because something about it is like, where have I smelled this? Where? But yeah, it's got this very, very red hot quality. And I think the bottle is very appropriate for this. The bottle is like perfect. Like it's red hot. And I'm always associating red hot with red hots with the cinnamon. So I think that has a very major cinnamon presence there. If you like cinnamon and warm, spicy, resinous fragrances, amber fragrances, you've got to try that one. I think also, I'm not really familiar if there is rose. There's a slight rosy touch in the background. And so that's giving it a bit of brightness where, you know, as I was saying earlier, this Shagaf amber infusion gets very dark and resinous. Here, I think it's much brighter. It's not so dark and gloomy. And obviously the colors totally translate that into the fragrance. So that is Ambre Samar from the House of Guerlain. Let me know if you're familiar with that one. That was launched in 2025. And then we've got a new fragrance from the House of Reine de Saba. This is Myrrh Delicious. Not Fève Delicious, but Myrrh Delicious. So a new fragrance created by Julie Massé. And it's a myrrh resinous amber fragrance. Let me know if you're a fan of the note of myrrh. Add a comment below. You guys like these bottles? This one is, it's got vanilla, it's got benzoin, and it's got myrrh. So these are the kind of notes that you would associate with creating the amber accord. But there's also peppery spices. There's cardamom, which is a fresh spice. There's leathery touches with saffron. It's a really nicely made fragrance from the House of Reine de Saba. They do really, really great fragrances. And I feel like, you know, it's a Middle Eastern style house, but it's based out of Paris. They have a boutique there. And it doesn't remind me of a lot of other Middle Eastern fragrances, you know? I like that about it because sometimes it gets a little overwhelming. Every Middle Eastern fragrance starts smelling the same. This is very unique. It's created by a perfumer by the name of Julie Massé. I believe she works for Man or Simrise. I think she's Man. And in the end, you've got something very original here with resins and, you know, vanillic notes and spices and aromatics and woods together. Really unique amber. Not super sweet, not super, you know, savory, not super smoky, but the right amount. Really lovely there. So that is Reine de Saba's Myrrh Delicious. Fairly new fragrance from that house. And this fragrance also, I think it came out last year, late last year. This is Christian Louboutin's Fetish L'Ambre. I've been talking a lot about this one this year. I discovered it this year, but it was launched last year. But I'm featuring two from last year. But by the time people get their hands on these fragrances, it's this year. When they launch them next year, kind of happens. But this is a very, very unique amber fragrance. Super unique. Now, the amber and tuberose combo gives me the idea of Eau Sauvage Parfum 2012. Check it out. Definitely check it out. This is green tuberose. And of course, Eau Sauvage Parfum had a greenness about it. It was myrrh, and this is amber. So I think it hints at the OG Eau Sauvage Parfum, but in a more tuberose, creamy direction. Oh man, it's good. So, so good. This is like super, super delicious. And I never thought that green tuberose or tuberose in general would work with balsamic ambery resinous notes, but it really does. And it's super intoxicating, super original smelling, and the combination is great. The tuberose is, even though it's green, it's got this creaminess about it, and it really melts together with the ambery balsamic touches. Super delicious. If you don't know this one, check it out. Created by Delphine Lebeau. Go catch my videos on that particular fragrance. I have them on the channel. You can search for it. And finally, last but not least, Angelo's Creations Olfactives. This is Electron. Brand new amber from the house. Sort of gourmand leaning. But the couple times I tested this one out, I feel like it has a big Immortelle presence. I don't know if you guys know Immortelle. A very distinct kind of autumn-like smell. Lots of ambers. And this is also super, super spicy. And the Immortelle has that kind of slight pancake syrupy texture about it. But in the end, there's a lot of resins here. There's a lot of ambery notes, and I think there's molecular ambery notes as well, along with super spices. Like, it's very, very spicy. It's spicy, syrupy, molassesy, a little bit of cocoa, like a chocolatey touch. Pepper is prominent as well. But in the end, it's swimming in a, super smooth mixture of ambery touches. But that Immortelle is super highlighted for me. The Immortelle stands out quite a bit. If you don't know the fragrance from the House of Voyage Imaginaire called L'Eau d'Immortelle, whereas that is even much more of a presence with the Immortelle, there are somewhat similarities between the two, but if you're overdosed with a lot of Immortelle with that fragrance, this is one for you to try, because this is a more ambery experience, but also lots of spices, super, super spices. That fragrance also is 100% natural. I think this is not, well, no, it's not, because it does feature some molecular ambery notes. But yeah, it's a very unique take on amber. There's a lot going on in here. But it's got a creamy consistency for sure. It has a white chocolate note as well. But really wonderful new fragrance from the House of Angelo's Creations Olfactive. It's called Electron. Let me know if you're familiar with this one. So that's the last modern amber fragrance I'm going to talk to you about. Which one sounds great to you? Add a comment below. Let's move over to the more classic amber fragrances. And I've got several here. Oh, yeah, 13. So we did 13 modern ones, new ones, and then I'm going to do 13 classic ones. And most likely you're familiar with a lot of these, but if not, let me know, ask a question. But I'm going to start off things with Ambre Sultan from the House of Serge Lutens, one of the best amber fragrances. In fact, one of my first 3 amber fragrance purchases, it was this Maître Parfumeur Gantier's Ambre Perso, and there's one more, and I'm drawing a blank. I think it was Mitza from Dior. But what I like about this one is the green aromatics that are contrasted with the syrupy, resinous, ambery notes, which adds this grounding kind of comforting, because it's a familiar kind of an aromatic note. I think there's thyme in here, almost something, a little reminder of oregano. Not quite oregano, I think it's just thyme. And it's a nice contrast. It's familiar smell. It's a bit cozy and comforting because it's associated with food and eating food and things like that, even though it's like an herb. But against the resinous, ambery, spicy touches, it's a breath of fresh air and smells so awesome. That also reminds me of Mitza by Dior, and it also reminds me a little bit of Absolute Pour Le Soir from the House of Maison Francis Kurkdjian, but I do have a fragrance from Maison Francis Kurkdjian. I'm not featuring Absolute Pour Le Soir, I'm featuring Grand Soir, which most people know. It's a very popular amber fragrance, one of the best from the house. And what I like about this one is a very smooth amber from a mass market niche house, MFK. And this one also, it's mostly resins, and where's the name? It's a lot of resins. Here we've got like benzoin vanilla, there's tonka and labdanum, and then there's also a bit of lavender. I think the combination almost acts like it's got a dusting or a sprinkling of cacao on it, because it kind of comes off a bit chocolatey, but very faint, not like super intense, not overwhelming, but the right amount. In the end, it's an amber. It's so gorgeous. It's beautiful. Sadly, this replaced Absolute Pour Le Soir, but I believe they brought it back. It's a not limited edition, but it's like a only like a exclusive for the boutique and also their online store. You can get it, and it's also slightly different than the original Absolute Pour Le Soir, but better to have it as the way it is and then not have it at all, because I consider Absolute Pour Le Soir a masterpiece. This is also really, really good in a mass market, amber fragrance way. But don't get me wrong, it's super delicious. So that's Grand Soir from the House of Maison Francis Kurkdjian. Let me know if you're familiar with it, but most people know that one. It's popular. Not as popular as Baccarat Rouge 540, but very popular for that house. All right, next up, going to the House of Maître Parfumeur Gantier, we've got Ambre Perso. So Ambre Perso has been in my collection of fragrances since around 2013. When I first bought the fragrance, it came in a red bottle. The brand was redone. I think it was bought by another company, and they redid the bottles really nice and heavy duty, not plasticky caps and things like that. So, and again, also I featured this in the Scent Club kit, by the way. That was a very popular kit, and it's one of the best. Created by Jean-Francois Laporte, I believe that's how you say. Yeah, I think that's his real name. He started L'Artisan Parfumeur, and then he started this brand. And this is definitely one of the masterpieces of the world in the world of fragrances, I think. Launched in 1988. And it's an amber that is very addicting. It's resinous and balsamic, also aromatic and spicy. So it's got like herbal notes, it's got spices and balsamic notes. It comes off powdery as well, and vanillic notes as well. It's a really, really awesome amber. If you haven't got your nose on this one, please do. It's one of the best. Really, really an awesome amber fragrance. We've got a fragrance from the house of Chanel. We've got a feature Le Lion. It's one of the best in classic amber fragrances, even though it's only been around since 2020. And this fragrance to me is definitely, next to Coromandel, one of the best fragrances from Chanel. I absolutely love it. It's dark and resinous and smoky, and kind of hints a little bit at Coeur de Russie, but also it hints a little bit at Coromandel. And then on top of that, it also hints a little bit at Shalimar, the DNA. So there is the citrusy start up top, and it gets deeper and resinous and, ambery notes, and then smoky, fiery, leathery notes. It's inspired by the line. It's called Le Lion. So it's the kind of fragrance they were doing. And Olivier Polge did an amazing job on this. Again, one of the best from the house. So good. Really, really great fragrance. I love it. It's warm and spicy and a perfect winter fragrance. Really an awesome winter fragrance. The only thing is I hear negative things about that. Some people think it gets animalic and all that good stuff, but I don't know. Does it get animalic to you guys? I think it's just the right amount. I think it's that smokiness, maybe slight leathery touch, which reminds me of Coeur de Russie from Chanel, is what maybe creates that animalic funk. But I think it's a masterpiece. I love it. But this next one's also a really awesome one from the house of Nuit Nomade. This is Ambre Khanjar. Ambre Khanjar, really great. And what I like about this one, it has plums. It's a fruity take on amber. And the plum really, really works well here. This also has leather. And the leather fruit thing is a great combo as usual. But very plummy, which adds a slight fruitiness, but very resinous and balsamic here. Smoky, leathery. It works so well. This is a really, really awesome smelling scent. It's an amber. You're probably familiar with this kind of a DNA with all the resins and the balsamic notes and the vanillic notes and labdanum and all that good stuff. But they've thrown in the fruitiness of the plum, which, as I said, adds that booziness, and then the leather together. Awesome. Really, really fantastic fragrance. Ambre Khanjar from the house of Nuit Nomade. It's not one of the fragrances that most people talk about from the brand, but if you haven't experienced that one, please do. It's a really, really great one. I think my list is kind of shifting around. Next one is Clive Christian's Blonde Amber. I was actually at Bergdorf Goodman's in New York City, and I stopped at the Clive Christian counter, and the lady was like instantly going to show me this one. Apparently, this is the most popular from the house of Clive Christian. I did not know, but it is a really solid, I think mass appealing in a niche way kind of amber fragrance, if that makes sense. It's actually the kind of amber that's easier to wear, like Grand Soir is. So it doesn't get dark and smoky, doesn't get like animalic and leathery and things like that. It's just a pleasant smell. You've got the resinous touches, you've got the, ambery, vanillic touches, but then you also have fruity notes and spices. It's just a really nice balance of all of the notes. There's a citrusy touch up top, which also freshens things up a bit. And in the base, there's some light grassy woods and earthy notes. tobacco as well, but it's they call it blonde tobacco, but only to add that name to give it more of a lighter kind of experience. You know, blonde tobacco versus tobacco, meaning it's brighter, more light or fair. Lovely fragrance. This is Clive Christian's Blonde Amber. Let me know if you're familiar with that one. All right, next we're going to the house of Tower Perfumes. It's L'air du Desert Marocain. Yeah, this one has to be added. And actually, I had a tough time deciding between this or the Accour du Desert, which is the Extrait de Parfum version of this. But either one will work. They're both great. The original is L'air du Desert Marocain. It's a 2005 launch. I think it was 2005. Launched in 2005, so it's 20 years old now. They just launched a third version of this, which I absolutely need to get because it's one of my favorite fragrances. But if you like ambers, but on the dry side, not necessarily super sweet, a bit green and spicy, gotta check this one out. Super awesome fragrance, and it's got that tower out DNA. The DNA is amazing. You smell it here, you get familiar with it, then you recognize the rest of the fragrances because from one fragrance to another, the DNA runs across the brand. And it's an awesome scent. It's dry. It's a dry, not vanilla. Well, I think there's vanillic notes in here, but it's a dry amber. So it acts very dry and dusty. So you'll really, you'll notice the difference between something like Grand Soir or Fiery Amber, you know, Les Eaux Primordiales, Amber Supermassive and things like that. This is super dry, very dusty, and also green and citrusy as well because it's got that petitgrain note. It's got the leaves of the orange tree along with like coriander and ambergris as well. Really nicely done. Andy did a great job on this one. It's the masterpiece of the house for sure. That's L'air du Desert Marocain from the house of Tower Perfumes. Then we've got Parfum d'Empiere's Ambre Rousse. You're familiar with this one, right? So now I remember. So it was 3 ambers that I bought. I think I bought Mitza 4th. So it was Ambre Sultan, Maître Parfumeur at Gantier's Ambre Perso, then Ambre Rousse, then it was Mitza, because this is one of my earliest amber purchases. In fact, after I bought 1 bottle in 50 ml, used it all up, it was so good. I was at Jovoy for the first time in 2014, 2015. I actually bought a 500 ml bottle of this, which I have. I've pulled it out and showed it on camera before. It was also pre this bottle variation. So it's only used up like 10-15% of it, and it's a really great amber. I was obsessed with this amber because this amber comes off kind of dried, fruity and boozy, and even though it's not like a dark colored spirit, it's vodka and champagne, it acts like there's something you know, like whiskey or cognac or something. Maybe since it's a French brand, maybe it's Calvados, because it's acting kind of fruity and appley a little bit, but I feel like it's more like stone fruits rather than, you know, apples for Calvados. But great amber, not super dark, kind of boozy, as I said, fruity and spicy, but super delicious. For me, it's got a macerated fruity quality, but imagine taking dried fruits like apricots, peaches, nectarines, chopping them up and putting in a bowl of booze, and it's like, you know, how it like separates and the booze goes inside the fruits and the fruits goes inside the booze, and that's the texture I get with this one. Great fragrance, Ambre Rousse from the house of Parfum d'Empire. Then we've got a fragrance from the house of Jeroboam. It's Ambra. Yes, these are the more classic amber fragrances, ones that you're probably familiar with. But this is also a great house. Jeroboam is a sister house to Jovoy, and they now have the 100 ml bottles that are like this as well. This is the 30 ml bottle, but this is more of a balsamic, vanillic, earthy, patchouli take on amber, but it also has musky notes and aromatic notes and a little bit of incense as well. But it's original compared to the other fragrances, but still like in the same family. It's an amber in the end. It has similar notes, but when they're creating the formula, they're not using the same amount of ingredients. So even though it wears similarly to the other fragrances, this is a completely original fragrance. But I like its warmth. I like its spiciness, intensity. It's an extrait de parfum. Easy to carry around a 30 ml bottle. You can even carry it in your pocket. And, it's got that smokiness as well and spices together. Very balsamic, vanillic, resinous amber fragrance. So that is Ambre from the house of Jeroboam. I almost said Javoy. All right, next up, we've got a fresh amber fragrance, and I have to feature this one since we're talking about the classics, and this is a classic that is unlike any other ambers that I'm speaking about. This is more of a fresh amber, but since it has the ambery resinous touches, I have to include it here. It's Nichane's Ambra Calabria, one of the best fragrances from this house. It's a masterpiece, I think. It's definitely one of my favorite fragrances of all time, and it's a great combo of warm resinous amber notes with fresh green citrusy aromatic notes. It smells so awesome, sophisticated. It's an amber you can also wear all year round, not necessarily just in the winter. It smells great in the summertime, but when you put your nose to it, oh my God. The greenness of the green notes and the bergamot in here, together with the depth of the resinous ambery vanillic touches together, it's an amazing clash. So awesome, so delicious. Again, this is more of a fresh amber. I mean, not everything has to be super intense and deep and rich, but it's very original to me. It smells sophisticated. It smells cleaner than the other ambers because it's got those fresh, cleaner notes, and also something that I love wearing and can't get enough of the way it smells because it's super original. Ambra Calabria, please make well, it's already an extract, so I don't know what more they can do with the intensity of that one, because, it's already an extract. But the next fragrance, going to the house of Atelier d'Azur, this is Lune Feline in the Extrait de Parfum concentration. So it's a vanilla fragrance, but it's super balsamic. It's got Peru balsam in the notes. I think this is a fragrance that comes off a bit medicinal, and it's more so in the extract, but also more ambery in the extract. But wow. Musky, spicy, very balsamic, vanillic. I think it's also dark and smoky because it's got that styrax. There's also the cardamom. It's super original, but super long-lasting with the extract. Wow. It's been a long time since I put my nose on the extract, but wow. Really, really great. It's like taking the original into more of a higher concentrated area. Wow. I love it. It was the first fragrance I bought from the house, and they had just launched at Javoy in Paris. Like 2 weeks later, I bought it because I was visiting France at Paris. And this one has the gold flakes quite a bit. Really awesome. Very intoxicating. I should say very hypnotizing when you look at the gold flakes swimming around there. Let me know if you've tried that one. It's super awesome. Here we go with another dark amber. We're going to the house of Amouage. This is Interlude 53 Man. Truly original take on an amber, but more dark and smoky, very resinous and aromatic. Yeah, you've got the oregano in this one. Whereas I said you've got the herbs here in the Ambre Sultan as well. This is more like Italian pizza or something where they use the oregano, contrasted with all the resinous, dark, smoky, oudi touches. I think it was genius to combine these notes together. And it was always number one at Amouage, the number one fragrance. But now, of course, Guidance probably has surpassed that. But, my favorite love from the house now is Decision. I can't believe how good that is. Decision is like creamy, snow-covered pine trees with a subtle sweetness added to it. Wow, it's really good. But this one is really, really dark, really, really smoky, extremely resinous, and oudi as well. Truly original. It's like, if you want a not so sweet amber, this is what you would pull for. Interlude 53 Man from Amouage. I'm going to end the list with a fragrance from the house of Perfume Roma. It's Ambra Aurea. Let me know if you're familiar with this one. The thing with Perfume Roma, the fragrances are not broken into top, heart, and base notes. I shot a video in their flagship store in Rome. You can go watch that video to learn more about how the fragrances are of the brand. So you can rub. It's oily. It's an oily fragrance, and you can rub them, and you're not going to ruin the top notes because there's no top notes. But this is a super intense, very, very thick resinous amber. So it's an amber accord. They're not listing what they put in to create the accord. They just call it amber. But most likely you've got vanilla, you've got labdanum, you've got maybe benzoin and myrrh mixed in, or, you know, it could even be a popanax. And then along with that, there's incense as well. So it's smoky, it's a bit church-like, but it's enough sweetness to balance it out. But it's not sugary sweet. The sweetness is more of a resinous, ambery sweetness. But it's also very, very long-lasting. Really awesome amber. Worth noting here. So this is the last and final classic amber fragrance for you guys. So let me know what your thoughts are on the classic amber fragrances and the new amber fragrances. Which one sounds the best to you? If you're a lover of amber, have you discovered any new amber fragrances this year that I didn't mention? Or if it's any of the ones I spoke about, let me know what you like about it, what you hate about it, and let me know if there's anything missing either on the side of the new ones and on the side of the classic ones. Everything is also tagged for you guys if you're interested. As long as they're available online, you can buy them. So take advantage of that as well. But other than that, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Please like the video, share it, give a thumbs up for the video, and subscribe to the channel if I don't. Did I mention that already? Yeah, subscribe to the channel if I haven't mentioned it, and click that bell icon so you'll be notified for future videos. One last thing I should also say, I've been mentioning in a few other videos, I have just started a YouTube Shorts channel, a separate one from this channel. I'm separating my Shorts content outside of here because algorithmically it kind of doesn't make sense for me to continue, even though I was pushed by my YouTube manager to keep doing them. So I've decided to start a new channel. I haven't posted any content there yet, but I will start very soon next year. I'm hoping that I can link back to this channel from there, but I'm not 100% sure. And also stay tuned for some updates on the channel. There's going to be some changes here, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, please subscribe to my Shorts channel, and I'll be sure to post short content there. You know, you can only post like 1 minute to 3 minutes. I think that's the limit. Here, it's going to be longer form videos, deep dives, and reviews and things like that. Anyway, see you guys later. Bye-bye.